Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and let's build a computer. So this first part of the build that you'll see is just the computer without a case, and that's because right now the case is on back or basically pre-order, and they pushed the pre-order back. I should have be having it in a couple days, but since now it's going to be a month delayed, I decided to go ahead with the build, get it all up and running, so that when I get the case, you just see me put it in it. But for this build, I will put everything below with a PC part picker link. But I got the SeaSonic Focus. This is the 550 FX. It's got a 10-year warranty on it. That it came with the box, and it says it on there. But it also has the hybrid mode, so it basically is fanless to a certain point of usage, and then it goes to silent mode, and then it ramps up from there in cooling mode when it needs to. Because of the other parts for this, and you'll see I already got it hooked up because I did actually upgrade the motherboard to the latest BIOS for the 3400G. But with this one, with the parts that I have, I don't think that it'll be, tested too hard and going above that fanless mode that often. Again, I'm going to be using the Gigabyte board here, and this is going to be the Aorus ITX B450. M.2 slot on here and stuff, so that'll go on there, and you'll see that as we build. If you want more on that as well, I did do a video, so go check it out. I'm going to be using 16 gigs of RAM in here. This is a DDR4 3000, and so a little bit slower than what than 3200, but for the price that it was when I originally got the RAM, it was a good deal. You probably can get RAM cheaper now. And this is RAM I previously used up in the build on my little media box, and it's my Plex server. I kind of did some rearranging, got some new memory for my main box in quad channel, and that RAM went up there. So this is going to my parents now. Good usefulness with it, right? And then I went through and I picked them up a 960 gigabytes of NVMe drive. This was a pretty good deal. I believe it was like $120 or something like that. And it was an MP510, and so it's got great read speeds, great write speeds. They're saying 3400 up to sequential reads, 3000 sequential writes. So it should be pretty good there, especially for them, as well as in the main part of that's going to be running graphics and processing is the 3400G. And I will do a little bit of comparison. I do have the 2200G's fan, so you can kind of see the difference of there. I know that the 2200G's fan was a little bit hard to get clearance on it. Luckily, I had short RAM. If you have RAM taller than this, the 2200G will not fit on this board with that fan. You will need a different cooler in order to make that work. But that's a little bit about the build. It's pretty simple. Of course, I'll be putting Windows on it for them because they know how to use that. But let's get down and let's put it together. Like I've mentioned, I've already done some prep work because I use a 2200G to get this all flash so I can use it for the 3400G. But you'll notice that these brackets right here are already removed for the fan because the AMD fan actually mounts right to these. So we'll start with that, then is get the 2200G or 3400G out of here. I already used the 2200G, but with the Ryzen, they actually package this quite nicely. They got this. Here's the processor with a couple stickers. You get the Ryzen 5. You also get the Vega one as well. And so that's pretty cool that they're giving you both still today. Hopefully they just name it something else like Radeon and don't have the specific features once they start moving in with Navi and stuff. Get a better naming scheme there. But we go Ryzen. We match the corners up here. Put the lever down. And we're good. Then we got the cooler. We're going to set that for there right now. For the cooler, they put a little piece of plastic on top, and then this is the cooler. And we will be setting it up like this. But you'll see here's the cooler size, and I actually have the 2200G's cooler here, so you can kind of see the difference in size. So this is a much shorter, the 2200G cooler is much shorter. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're going to be using the AMD fan, you're probably going to want shorter memory, and so you have clearance otherwise. Otherwise you'll run into an issue with taller RAM. So we just mount these down. I love how the noise just sounds horrible as you put this down, but it keeps it tight, and I won't complain about it. So here it is. We'll just, CPU fan's right there, so that's in. We have 2 sticks of memory, so they'll have. Yeah, my parents will have a pretty good machine, 16 gigs and a terabyte of NVMe. So they don't need, for this computer, this will be pretty much their main computer. So they won't need really anything else in it, but they are well overdue for a machine. So we have the heat spreader here for the NVMe, and so we can take that out. Here's how it comes packaged. There's where I put the screws. Yeah, do not lose the small screws. So, tighten this. Actually, do I need? No, I don't even need this one. Because I'm going to use the, I know it's ideal to keep the flash as warm as possible, but I'm not too concerned with it, so I'm just going to actually use the heatsink on there for them. And just put this down. And then all we need is power, so I don't need that screw. For this we got our 8-pin, which will go over here, and I'm going to hook all this up right now so I can actually install Windows and get it basically ready. So when the case comes, you'll be seeing that after this, where I then insert it into the case. So here's the power to it, and I'm actually going to connect, or I'll be able to connect the monitor and get it going, but that's it. This is a pretty simple build, right? We got the 3400G, memory, storage. Kind of like how cool and compact these builds are going to be getting in the future. We can do a lot with just a little bit of equipment. So thanks for watching, and you'll be now jumping into the case part. As you see now, I have the case. I have disconnected all the cables to the motherboard, but we got to get the I/O shield in there first, and we'll kind of see how this case is in building. I did notice that there is no mesh, like a filter mesh. So this is just the metal on the case, like in the front is just, and the top here is what it is. It's not, there's not an additional filter for it. So if you were hoping there would be an additional filter, there is not. Yeah, you should be able to buy one though. If you, I think there's third parties out there if you wanted another one. I haven't did thermals on this or testing it to see how it would go, but my guess is that you don't need to really be too worried about it. You shouldn't need to, so we'll see how all this goes and get the rest of this stuff in there now. With the, gotta take out, since I had all this up and running, I have to take out the USB keyboard and mice. By the way, this computer running is very impressive for 3400G. It's probably more powerful now looking at it than what my parents even need, but they don't get a new computer that often, and now that it is done, well, I'm hoping that they can then now use it to its fullest, or use it enough. I mean, there might be even more stuff now that they can do. So yeah, if you're looking at 3400G for like to do some work or whatever else, definitely I wouldn't hesitate. I would definitely go and take a look at it and build it for somebody that needs it. So or if you're even in the market for like an home theater center, blah, this would be a great product for it. Did some basic testing on it. Actually, my whole Plex server is upgraded to this now, and it works great. It was a big step up from the 2200G, and that's the one reason why I went that route, was to upgrade the 2200G to the 3400G, and wow, very impressed by this. I mean, it works really well for transcoding and everything else, especially 4K streams. I'm live transcoding, so I was trying to get my Plex server. Granted, it's only me right now and my wife, but we've done multiple transcodings, even a way that it's just been a huge benefit overall to be able to transcode all that stuff on the fly rather than, whoops, here I am dropping screws all over the place. But be able to transcode all that stuff all the time. So that was a really huge benefit overall to find out. So one thing about this case is that, well, with my fingers, it's getting kind of difficult to be put in there, and my screwdriver isn't the best at dropped one on the floor. So let's try this again. So as with ITX cases, it will be a little difficult to get your fingers in there and move. It's a very, very tight alignment, so I will pick up that screw later, or one of the kids will find it and ask, Dad, what is this for? And I'll go, well, thank you. But motherboard is in with CPU, memory, and everything else. And as you see these holes on the side, I kind of mentioned this in my little review. It's all right there already to be able to go and mount a whole bunch of SSDs. Now, looking at this, it looks like it can only really mount like 1 or 2 hard drives in here. That's it. You'd have to do some modifications if you wanted to do that. But if that's something you were up to, I would actually suggest a different case if you had multiple hard drives. But that is up to you. Now, I did originally find a fan header. Now, where did I put that? And I'll probably just throw this together, and I'll probably do some cleanup of it after a little bit, because I basically want to get this up and running. So I got somebody asked about the BIOS of this machine, and I was really waiting for the case. So I had some stuff taken apart before I really continued. But one thing about this is as you notice as I'm putting this together, and here I'll turn this a little bit here, is that these cables are quite long, and I will do these later. But audio goes all the way down over here, it looks like. So Did you get that right? Yes, it looks like I got it right. So yeah, just looking at this case, like you got really long USB 3, like you could reach anywhere outside of the case. Must be just a standard cable, and now it's kind of making it pretty tight. But let's put the SeaSonic power supply in now, and they show us putting the power supply in like this. And this is according to just I did look at the manual because I'm like, I'll build it the way they want it to be built. But it kind of sticks out a little bit, but this is the way they wanted it. So there is 4 screws, so if you have to get at this power supply, I'll turn it here for you in a second, once I get a couple screws in here. But they do have holes both ways, but according to their manual, they show it like this. And because most of the time this computer is going to be pretty low power all overall, right? My parents didn't need anything absorbent, you know, and power wise. They just need something that they can go get their email, you know, watch YouTube videos, watch other videos, stuff like that. Get work done. They're not going to be gaming. By the way, the 3400G though can game. I've been gaming upstairs where it is, because I don't necessarily always come down. If I'm like sitting in bed or something, I'll just pop open a game, and it works great. But here it is. So now the power supply is in there. The case is getting some weight to it now, but you can see there's 4 screws here. You take that out and the whole power supply will come out with it. So you do have that benefit as well. But even with this, now that I'm looking at this, I should have plugged this in first. So I guess I will be taking it up. So this is going to be one area where this is going to be helpful. So I cannot reach the top of the motherboard to get it back in, if that makes sense. Get the 8-pin in. So I doubt this processor will really use that much power. It probably only needs, but only a 4-pin, if that. But still should go through and plug everything in. So this will come out. So now you can kind of, let's see, without scratching up the cable too much here. So take a look at that. It's you can kind of see where all the power, or how this board kind of goes in. It is quite a tight case. I did expect that. You know, it's an ITX. See if we can do this and kind of, I will go through and just clean it all up a little bit. I just want to get this together. Most importantly, it needs to work. I already do know the computer works, but you know what? That 8-pin is really tough. I'm going to actually turn this outside. I can do it without ruining stuff. Because, so one thing about this case that you're going to find fun is trying to get this 8-pin in there if it's in that upper corner where the handle is. So yeah, the handle is causing, again, I don't know why you would need a handle on a case this small. The more and more I think about it, it just doesn't make that much sense to have a handle here on a case that is this small. But we can now wind that around and put this back, because it is really tight back there. So you can get to most of the other motherboard, but your CPU, that's pretty tight there. And I'll do some testing on this, and I'll do a review of the case overall. But I'm really kind of wondering now, my other ITX, which is a little bit bigger than this, it was a thermal take. Oh, I'm blanking on it right now, but I did an unboxing and a video on that as well. That one has a little bit more space in it. It has a 200mm fan in there, so it has that option as well. And oh, excuse me, it has that option as well to do it. So you kind of can see what I was able to do here real fast. These cables, I will tighten them up a little bit, but there's no space on the backside to hide any of these. You are basically, it's going to be here. This is not going to be probably the best looking, you know, case out there for cable management. There's just no place to put the cables, but I will tighten them up and make them so that they're a little bit easier here. But overall, this is basically put together now. I will put the headers in for the power on and off, and then next spot you'll see me is I will have this booted up a little bit so you can see it all functioning and running. So thanks. Let me know if you have any questions about this build, any of the products I put in here. To see, you know, it was a pretty fun build. I did have to do it in a little bit of multiple steps, but it worked out pretty nice. As you can see, the front case can just go back on. I'm not using anything here that's out of the ordinary. Like, I'm not going to put a cooler, you know, you can put a cooler up in front to replace the 200mm fan. They do show that off there. There's a, you know, because there is some room in this area where it draws air through to get it all out the back and the sides here. I also don't have a graphics card, so we don't even have to worry about that. So with that, let me know what your thoughts are on what questions you do have here, and I'll be right back with the final build. So here's the finished product. You can see I got LED hooked up. You can kind of maybe see the orange in there. It's not at everything synced yet. I just got it up and running. I don't think even my parents care too much, but it's working. Everything powers on. It's once you get this bar in there, it really ridges up the case quite a bit. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. It's pretty compact overall, as you can see. We have mesh on top, and you can feel airflow coming through pretty much everywhere. So I'm pretty pleased about that. I'm going to keep my eye on the temps over on this case. I'm probably going to even do a review of the case in general. But there's the fan. Looks pretty good. We get the side on, and it fits on very well, and you tighten the screws and then you're off to the races. So pretty cool build, pretty tight build, just keep that in mind. I did, when I was putting it just putting the side panel back on, I'm like, ooh, forgot one little thing. The power supply going in and out is a huge plus in this case. It allows you to really maneuver around and recheck everything. And if you need to get into something, let's say the M.2, you built this case around just an SSD, and then you got an M.2. Really easy to take that out, put the M.2 in. Yes, it is a tight case, but some of the things that Cooler Master did make it really beneficial there. So I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to look at this build. Let me know what questions you got with it. I will do a review of the case overall as well. But this is a 3400G with a 1TB SSD in it. That was the MP510, as well as the Gigabyte B450 iAorus Wi-Fi Pro Wi-Fi motherboard. Great Wi-Fi on this, way better than the MSI one that I had picked up, that B450i Gaming Plus AC. But overall, that's basically it. 16 gigs of RAM in here, and my parents should have a pretty good system coming here for the next few years at least. So with that, that's all. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to help support Gray Overload and helping this channel grow. I really appreciate it. And until next time, God bless, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.